Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I am your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me, as always, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And we have quite a few things to talk about, including a big recently released game that Mark is reviewing, Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope. We're going to get to that right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Well, and just so we can go ahead and get this out of the way, if this is your first time watching or listening, or this is your 100th time, we always appreciate you. You can, of course, watch us live when we do the show on our WT Network on Twitch, on Mark's. You can follow him on Twitter at Humanity on my Twitter as well at WT Sean at WT Network on Twitter is where we're all at here, and then you can also go to the WT Network Facebook page and watch there, or just see things on demand there. And of course, you can always watch afterwards on the WT Network YouTube channel, which if you subscribe, ring that bell, hit the button, you also get all of our other stuff that we do, which includes Talk to Keiki, the anime show. They basically stay up to date on all the anime that you could think of, between My Hero, that's just hit season 6, to all the little, the smaller ones in between. They really like covering their anime there on Talk to Keiki. And of course, you get Mark Radlich doing his movie reviews and the metal music reviews. And they just did Black Adam. So if you've been curious about the movie and want to hear somebody's thoughts, Mark Radlich and crew have their thoughts out there on the YouTube channel. And of course, if you subscribe on podcasts, which this show comes out on podcast, I try to be as quick as possible, but sometimes, like right now, I got a lot going on, helping my girlfriend move and everything, so I haven't been able to be as quick as I'd like with getting it out there. So sometimes it's a day later than the video version, but it does get out there, and you can listen to us wherever it is that there are podcasts. That's Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, all that. Anywhere you like to listen to podcasts, we are there. So usually we start with the news, but since we normally don't get to have this kind of, like, game comes out and in a few days we get to talk about it and it's a recent release game, that's one of those times where I'm going to break the rule, and let's go ahead and start with you have been playing Mario Rabbids
Yep.
Sparks of Hope, code coming from Ubisoft. So
And a good code because it's a gold edition.
hey, I mean that's what's nice. I will say is same thing happened to FIFA. We got the Ultimate Edition, and they're pretty good about when they send the review code. They actually let you experience the game of what it could be if you bought the best edition. So I
Yeah,
always appreciate that.
I look forward to getting the WoW Dragonflight Ultimate Edition in a few weeks or days,
Yeah,
whenever how it's coming out.
yeah,
Sorry,
a
I'm
few
still a little
days.
sick.
Well, what do you? I mean, what are your thoughts so far? I mean, did you play the first one?
Barely. I played it for like 15 minutes. I really didn't like it. Uh, I like this one. I'm actually about
Okay.
halfway through, I think, because I read up to this 4 worlds and I'm already on the third one.
Oh, that's
All
good.
right, I'm kind of going through this.
Yeah.
Although the third world's kind of annoying because it has a bunch of enemies that are pain in the asses. Uh, so yeah, it's a 3x3 or a. It's basically a strategy game. We have 3 units, and yeah, it's like XCOM, but now it's like better. Because I know that one of the criticism of the first game was you always had to have a team of one rabbit in it,
Right.
like always.
And it was done with like a point system. Like you had to have so many. You couldn't bypass a certain number of points with the accumulated 3 team members.
Yeah,
It was very restrictive.
Yeah, this is completely open. If you want to have a team of all Mario guys, you can, or all Rabbids. So my primary team is Mario, Rabbid Peach, because she's the only one with the heal. And I just unlocked Bowser, and he seems pretty fun. But they introduced a new Rabbid character called Edge, who looks like the goth chick, or like the goth one.
Yeah.
And she has like a boomerang sword, which is kind of useful. So I've been using like those three pretty much through most of the game. Mario is like devastating in this game because like there's an Overwatch ability that almost all characters have, and his you can use it twice in a row, and if you kill an enemy with it, it recharges.
Yeah.
So I destroy everyone with it, or I have been. So yeah, I mean, what do you want to know? Or yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I liked the first game, but like you, I kind of grew a bit tired of the like forcing you to have a certain team, and then I another thing that was kind of annoying for me is like I like that world that you're sort of traveling in, but you don't really get to see a lot of it, or you're very
so
restricted in the movement that you can have. So
yeah,
how is that overworld now?
this actually has an over like every planet is basically an overworld, and there are stuff to find. There's a bunch of side quests for you to do, which are mainly like beat 3 Goombas on this map, or beat 3 bombs. Uh, the only weird thing is you can't jump, and it feels weird to play a Mario game that looks like Mario Galaxy, or like
Right.
Mario
Yeah.
or Mario Odyssey, but you can't jump at all. And there are like red coin challenges, like, oh, go through this gate and collect 8 coins. Uh, one of them I can't do. It's just a green coin challenge, and like I gotta watch a video because like I don't have enough time to do it. I don't know if I'm missing something or what, but I I've busted my ass to get to this coin, and like I just cannot reach it at all. Uh, but they're like environmental puzzles, like they're riddles to solve. Uh, yeah, it is like kind of like a slimmed down version, like a Mario Odyssey planet, or something like that. Uh, like the first planet is a beach planet. The second one is winter, and the third one is like a fall area. So I assume that fourth one is like the rocky, like the green one. Uh, and yeah, you can just run around and do everything, whatever you want, and it's pretty open about like. There are like 2 things to collect on every planet, like these like crystal fuel thing, like shards, I think. But you can approach them how you like. If you want to pick up one or the other, it's up to you. Uh so yeah, like the third planet, I ran to get Bowser first, and he had one. So I was like, all right, cool. And the sparks you can equip up to 2 sparks at one time, and they provide like passive bonuses, but they can also have like active abilities, like give your weapon burn ability, or like draw in enemies to your character. Uh and yeah, a lot of them are useful. Some aren't, as you might think, but yeah, it's fun.
I mean, do you have the ability to change anything? So is it all done like before you start the battle, or can you change things mid battle? Or
No, it's all done before the battle. Like you can restart the battle like without losing anything. Like if you like one battle I screwed up on, and I had to use like Rabbid Luigi, but I never used him before, so he had like nothing equipped to him correctly. So I tried the battle once just without it, and I'm like, all right, let's see if I can actually do this. And no, I can't. So I had to like restart it and then actually equip him with some sparks to like make him survive. Some of the enemies in the game are a real pain in the ass. Like there's like armored Goombas that are invulnerable except to anything but dash damage. So like if you use a weapon on them, they just don't take damage. Like you have to dash into them and like throw them off the stage, and it's like, oh man, I'm not equipped to do this like correctly. Or
how is that challenge in this game? Because I mean, the first game was kind of hard. I mean,
So I don't think I've ever actually gamed over. Like I've lost characters maybe once in a while in a battle, uh, but there's no real penalty except you have to like heal them up in the next round. But the game has a pretty interesting difficulty system. I'm playing like average.
Okay.
You can go into the options and like select how you want the enemies to react to you. Like if you want them to be aggressive or passive, or you can just turn on invulnerability. Like if you really don't want to play the game, or like probably for like a little kid.
Right. Just to enjoy the Mario characters and the
Yeah,
rabbits. Yeah.
right. Which is nice. I mean, you could probably play this game with like your daughter fairly well.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like is the story sensible at all? I mean,
There's some evil Cursa character that's like corrupting everyone, and it's like, wow, this is brave and new world here, huh?
yeah.
It's fine. I mean, it's a Mario story. Like, what do you really expect? So some of the characters are like okay, like Princess, like Rabbid Peach is fine or pretty good. I actually like Rabbid Rosalina because she's like very depressed. Just like
Okay.
tired of it all.
I was gonna ask you like how it's different because the rabbits are voiced this time, So
Oh yeah, I think like previous like they didn't. They just had like Rabbid speak in the last one.
exactly, yes.
So I guess everyone's voice except for Mario. Like he like yells. That's about it. He doesn't like talk.
I mean that's Charles Martinet for you, right?
Yeah.
So do you feel like it's definitely better than the first game?
Yeah. Like I'm playing this like from an XCOM perspective, I guess. So like being able to move and attack feels really weird.
Mm-hmm.
Just to me personally. The only thing I wish the game has two problems that I've noticed really. There's kind of a UI problem where like you get these like skill points when you level up. And like you have to like, go into a menu, go into the character menu, select a character, use the skill point, and then back out of the menu to select a new character. And
Okay.
it's like, why can't I just press like L and R or like left and right to select a new character from the skill menu? Like I shouldn't have to back out of this menu to do this. Like there's like one or two like menu problems I've noted, like UI problems. And the the game I think the game could use like a rewind because I have occasionally messed up like a turn or done something that I almost screwed myself.
Oh, okay. So there's no way to like go back and undo a move or anything like that. It's
right. And it's like, yeah, Fire Emblem has like, if you mess up a turn, you can just straight up rewind it. And I guess I can see why they don't do that, but they could have made it like an item that you buy or something. So those are the only two like big things. The one thing I just I discovered is I want to say it was on Saturday. I played that game for like 8 hours straight.
That's a good sign when you're playing a game consistently.
The longer I played, the worse the performance got.
That was gonna be my next question.
Thing.
How does it run on the Switch?
I mean, I'm playing on dock, so it's fine. And I don't mean like it started running like garbage. I mean like the AI of certain characters is like breaking down. Like in a map, like I would like launch into the map and like some enemies like wouldn't activate. Like they would still be active, but they wouldn't like do anything. And I'm like, this guy should be moving around. Like he sees me or sees him doing shit. Like he should be doing something, but he just stands there. So I just kill him quickly.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is a slightly odd behavior.
Right.
And then like I want to say like at the tail end of that session, like I tried to go into the map and like the game almost like froze. It took like a while for it to get back to like the game, like over like a minute. And I'm like, all right. I'm gonna quit
Wow.
playing this now and like restart it, or like
That's what I
this
was gonna
doesn't.
ask. Like, had you been, because I've noticed that sometimes with the Switch, where especially having a launch one, it didn't happen that much with Xenoblade. It did happen a few times where if I've had it where it was like basically paused for a while, it had a bigger chance of crashing than if you had started from just powering it on or starting from
No,
the game.
I mean I didn't even like
Yeah.
restarted the Switch. I just restarted the game. Like I think it
Yeah.
was like some cumulative like it was just eating up memory or something like
Well,
that, like a slow
that's what I
memory.
mean. Like, you know how the Switch lets you keep the game
Yeah,
in,
so, like suspended or
yeah, suspended. So
but like I didn't have it suspended. I don't think maybe I did, but it was just the longer I played, like the slightly worse it got. And then I'm like, once it did that, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna restart the game real quick, and then it was fine.
how are the boss battles? Are they anything
They're pretty good.
spectacular?
One was really annoying because it was against this like teleporting chick, and it was like a Final Fantasy fucking boss where I beat her. She came back. I beat her again. Like it did like 3 or 4 rounds of this bullshit, and I'm like,
Wow.
how many forms does this thing have? Like if it sprouts one wing, I'm gonna be pissed. Out of its left shoulder. But one is pretty cool. One is like against like this big blockhead guy, and whenever you attacked him, it would try to charge at you. And there were like 4 barrels in this like big circle on the stage, and you had to have him get to one of the barrels, and then he would attack him right when he's by the barrel, and then he would jump up and smash down, and then damage himself because the barrel would explode. And that was cool. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good map and like objectives in this game. Like, it's not always just kill every enemy. Sometimes it's like, oh, race to get to the like end part of this stage, or you have to blow up like certain of these like blowy like block things to like progress. Or like one was like I had to guide a bomb, sorry, from like the start of the stage to the end of the stage, and he would like the bomb was supposed to blow up this thing at the end, and like you had to like turn on these switches for it to like go against these like wind platforms, and it was like, this is cool, and this is like much more involved than like kill every enemy on the stage.
I've heard there's puzzles as well.
Yeah, like there's some light environmental stuff, like, oh, solve this riddle that this guy tells you to do, or yeah, stuff like that. Like it's not like anything deep, but it helps to break up the gameplay some a little.
That's good. Good that there's variety, because that was a issue with the first game. It felt like you're just going from one mission to the next mission, and that's kind of it. And
The only problem I would say also is now I have 8 characters in the game, like 8 units, and I only still have like 3 slots for playable characters, and I think they should have upped that to 4 once you got 8 characters.
I think there's 9 in total, so you're gonna get one more.
Yeah, and it's like, and like I got Rabbid Rosalina at like the end of World 2, and then the start of World 3, I got Bowser, and I'm like, I don't have enough enough spots for me to like really experiment or like use these characters, because why would I?
Right. Once you find it's like any RPG. Once you find your party, it's very slim that you're just gonna keep changing them around.
Right. Like if I had more spots open, if I had like one extra spot, yeah, I'd use like Luigi or maybe Rabbid Rosalina or Bowser, but it's like, why?
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I'd say worth $60 or whatever it's going for right now. It's worth it. Like it's only like big Switch game at the moment.
Well, I mean, you will have one next week. So Bayonetta 3.
Oh yeah.
Or
well, good like kid friendly Switch game. Let's say.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's kid friendly. Something that you could play technically as a family, right? You could,
yeah,
with a few kids around. So That's good to know that you really like this game and it feels worth it to you to have played it. So you still got more than a little bit less than halfway to go. So hopefully
Yeah,
by next week you'll be done with it.
probably. I'm gonna try. Yeah.
Would you
Also
say it's
dealing.
one of your favorites of the year then, or?
Uh, maybe top 10.
Oh,
I
that's
didn't play
good.
much today. I've been worried about my cat's also sick, so I'm dealing with him.
So you and the cat are sick.
I'm getting over
That's
it. He's getting
yeah.
worse, so he's going to the vet tomorrow.
Oh goodness. Okay. Well, I hope hope Vala feels better
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Um. Well, might as well since we're already talking about anything else that you are playing. I guess before I.
Played a little more of that Astro Glide or Astro Asterigos game.
Oh, Astergos. Okay.
Yeah. I played a little more. Finally got around to playing a little more Live Alive.
Okay.
That's still a cool game, and I appreciate a lot of the way it's like designed,
Right.
as far as like bite-sized stories, and the way that
Yeah.
you're like not locked into a story either. Like if because I played I did the Western guy one, and that lasted about an hour, maybe a little longer, but it was only like 2 or 3 fights, which that was
Yeah.
funny. And I mean, you could back out of that story anytime and play a different one. And it's like, yeah, this is designed very well. Oh yeah, I also played Batora Lost Haven.
What did you think about that?
Uh, have you played it? Because I know you said you wanted to.
I was interested in it. Yeah.
I would say it's a game of missed opportunity in a weird way. Like the gameplay is fine. It's an action RPG, kind of mixed with like Ikaruga, like because you have like a physical and like a mental state, and you can switch between them at the same at any time. And certain enemies are like immune to not immune, but more damaged by physical than mental, or vice versa. And it's all color coded. But like the game opens up in a really interesting way of like, oh, the world is like half blown up or dead, and you're like a plucky young girl with her friend, and like you somehow get separated. It was a little unclear, and you get this like the moon and the sun deities like imbue you with their power, but you instantly get transported to like an alien planet, and it's like, no, I want
Yeah.
to stay on Earth. Like that's
Yeah.
what it's interesting to me. Like not this like rock planet that who cares.
Yeah. I see that it's like isometric
Yeah,
kind of perspective. Yeah.
and like I I don't like the battle system much at all. Like I guess it's supposed to be like, it's like, oh, if you time your attacks correctly, you can like do more damage, but it's like, why? Or I can just mash the A button a lot, and that does it pretty well. Like,
Yeah. So
I
you
mean,
haven't gotten into any kind of where it feels challenging or
uh, I beat the first world. Uh, that was okay. I just feel like, I mean, the stories, like the characters are fine, and it does have some like good moral choices, but I just feel like it's not badly designed, but it's just like not how I would have designed it, or it's just like going in like directions I don't personally like, so it's kind of hard to get into.
so what do you mean by that? Like what do you
Well, like
not
I said, like the second you get your powers, you're instantly whisked off to like an alien planet, and it's like I want to see what's up on Earth. Like that's more interesting to me than this planet full of like rock people. I don't give a shit about that. They didn't like. They also like speed you through the intro with your friend, like to get your powers. That's why it's like
okay.
unclear of what happened to you, like because it takes like 5 minutes, and let's say this should have taken longer somehow, like, or they should have like spent a little more time doing something with the starting area first. But yeah, it's just
Fair
me.
enough.
Uh, and like it's okay, but I don't know how much I'll stick with it.
So was it a code as well, or you just decided to pick it
No,
up?
that was a code, but that was like a while ago because Adam gave that to me like 2 months ago, and the game like
Oh,
that was like the one where I think I said like I entered the code and like nothing unlocked,
yeah,
even though it was like an early access code. I had downloaded and it was like 15 bytes of data, and I'm like, I'm betting the game is more than 15 bytes. Like,
yeah, pretty sure.
so like when the game came out, the code finally became active, and I was like, oh, here it's actually 20 gigabytes. I'm like, all right, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But yep, that's about it for me. How about you?
Well, I've been basically playing, I guess you could call them two old games that have games that have just come out or are about to come out. I never really finished the first God of War 2018.
Yeah,
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a whirl again, especially since, I got a little bit of time before the Ragnarok comes out. And, why not? So I was just like, well, I'm going to give this a shot and see if I can get far in it, at least to kind of get myself familiar with it before the game the new one comes out. And yeah, I just instantly remember why I really love that game. Just the combat is awesome. Love playing as Kratos again, and then the stuff with Atreus and the losing his mom and going through that, and then Kratos having to like decide that okay, now I'm gonna be a father, even though that wasn't necessarily my role. Perhaps like the mom kind of did most of the legwork. Yeah.
Here's the funny thing is Jens is still yet to play that game and he never will. And
Why?
it's like what I think his philosophy is like he didn't like the first like the old God of War games.
But that
And
has
and I was like, I agree with you. Like I'm there right with you. But this is actually good.
but these
Like this
games are different. Like,
yeah.
I mean, yes, you still have the action gameplay or whatever, but it feels way more refined.
Plus like Kratos has a character. Like in this
Exactly.
one.
Kratos is a character. Atreus is also a great character in his own right. They work well together. They combine together. Um, yes, you still had like the epic boss battles in the first one and all that. Like Kratos is not a freaking total jackass like he was in the
Yeah, he's
first
not
game.
rage
Like,
monster. Like,
yeah, he has
so
more of a human side to him in these games, and
like I'm sure he's championing Bayonetta 3 is like his aside from Elden Ring is like his game of the year. And I'm like, I'm sure Bayonetta 3 will be fine. Like, don't get me
right,
wrong. But between like that and God of War Ragnarok, I'll take God of like Ragnarok every day.
right, yeah, yeah. Like I know I'm gonna want to get through a large part of this game because I want to play Ragnarok as soon as that comes out if I can, and I got all the way up to a little bit further than the first boss battle with I forgot what his name is, but he's really fast and he's the son of Freya who
Isn't yeah, it's Balder.
yeah. Yeah, that was fun. That boss battle was fun. Getting to just
I mean,
blast him and then you get the rage
the funny
there.
thing is you're like barely in the game because like
Right.
once that game like really opens up, it's like wow, this is like a really big ass game.
Yeah. No, and then the thing is like to hear that and know that apparently Ragnarok's even bigger.
Yeah.
So there's like actual like a lot of side stuff to do and everything. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, I'm
And like even like I mean, have you even gotten to like the main world yet?
no, I've gotten to like the second area,
Well, once you
and
get to like
that's
the main hub world, it's like wow, like you can even like affect like how the water is. So certain areas will be like clear because like the water's lower, or like to get to one area, you may need the water to be higher and stuff like that. So yeah, it gets really crazy
oh okay.
because like a big
I mean,
lake, and you have like a boat, you can like you know go around in that and see all these like different little spots.
oh okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I got a little bit further than I am now from what I remember.
Right.
And then I don't remember what else came out around that time that I was like, oh, I had to play this instead of that, and then I never went back to it. But it's actively a game that I'm thinking about it right now as we're doing this show because I'm like I enjoy that time with it that much. Wish adulting wouldn't get in the way where I could, spend more time with it, but it's an enjoyable game, and yeah.
The obvious spoiler, I guess, is you eventually do get the old Blades of Chaos or Blades of whatever they're called back, and it's really fun. Like mix those up with your axe.
Yeah, I mean, like it's even to me that there was parts of it where I forget that you have to press triangle to bring the axe back.
Yeah,
and I'm just punching the dude without the axe, and I was like, this just feels good, even with just the punching and the blocking and stuff. So
there's a weight to the combat in that game that like most games don't have, even like action RPGs or action games like that.
And then being able to like use Atreus to distract the monsters and whatever too is and he actually takes off like big chunks of health with those arrows. So
and
he's a useful character.
Yeah, you can even like build him up better to do that. So it's like, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I appreciate. He's not like this just annoying kid that you kind of have to like bring along. He actually serves a purpose, and they did that really well. So I'm excited to see how that evolves.
He does get annoying later on in the game, but it's kind of they actually do justify it and they redeem his character. So that's nice.
Yeah, that's super positive to hear. Now being a teenager, Atreus and Ragnarok is going to be interesting how they do that.
Yeah.
I watched that they released like a 10-minute I guess like behind the scenes trailer that I definitely think people should go watch unless you're one of those folks that like wants to know nothing about the game or whatever, which I understand. But definitely they explain a lot in that, and like motivations behind those characters, and obviously how they made the game, dealt with it during the pandemic and all that stuff too. So it's really interesting. I definitely think people should go check that out.
And hey, isn't the woman who plays Freya pretty cute?
I mean, I wasn't really thinking about that at the time, but yeah, and I've also been playing a Plague Tale Innocence, which is the first Plague Tale
a good
game.
one.
Well, no, Requiem is apparently very good as well. A lot of people have been having good thoughts about Requiem. And so I was like, I don't really remember much of the story of the first. Like, this is another game I think I got like halfway through, and then I didn't go back to for this reason or another. And I was like, I kind of asked on Twitter, and everybody was like, well, you're going to be kind of lost. Like, I would give it a shot if you could go back and play it. And I mean, instantly, I remember why I was like, oh my God, this game it hits you right in the feels from the beginning. And then get you going for the rest of it. And I love the fact that it's like that interactive kind of, it has those passive moments, obviously, which they correct in Requiem, where you feel like there's more hands-on. But I do love you're moving the character around. There's still puzzles for you to solve. And then there's the big action sequences, like feel like they have a lot of gravitas to them as well. So like I'm enjoying that game, and I think I remember why it had a lot of the plot it had at the time. So I'm looking forward to getting into Requiem at some point here once I can get through a large part of this game, if not all of it, hopefully. But yeah, I forgot for a while. I was like, kept going, oh man, it's not on Game Pass anymore. I'm gonna have to go buy it. And then I remember I was like, oh yeah, the PS5 version came to PS Plus, so I actually have it. And so I downloaded it and started playing it. So if for some reason you haven't checked out either one of these games, I would definitely recommend folks do that, especially if you like medieval settings and all that stuff. So there's that. I played a little bit more of Soul Hackers 2 as well. like I said, like the gameplay is not the problem. It's just my problem with it is it kind of wears out its the the gameplay itself doesn't wear out its welcome. It's the fact that you have to like go through the monotony of fighting the same monsters over and over and over again when you're in these dungeons because they don't really change that much. I mean, yeah, I'm in the subway one in the subway level, so like when you go up the different floors, they do change.
Right.
But it's still kind of like and then like you said, you gain such little experience unless your demon that you're like leveling up is at. So like, you know, I've gone through the part where you do fusions and stuff like that, so I got through some of the fusions, and so they're at higher levels, so they don't level up as much as say the ones that I get from just walking around the area, and you get it from getting into, you know, how you get everything in that game where your demons that you do have give you items or give you things.
Yep.
And they tend to be at lower levels, so they gain more, but it's still kind of like, oh, I don't want to keep fighting, but then I have to, so they can gain levels and gain their powers and all that stuff. So
I'm just waiting for the eventual private message from you saying, if you write my Soul Hackers 2 review, I'll get you Ragnarok for Christmas.
I'm almost at that point sometimes. It's like I might,
because I already beat that damn game. So
I might tell you that in a week. I don't know. Also because you have a lot more experience with that whole series than I do. I played a little bit of Persona 5 Royal on Xbox because we bombed our apartment here at, you know, where my mom and family live, in hopes of getting rid of all the ridiculous amounts of roaches that we had gotten. So I had to not only take all the animals to my girlfriend's house for our apartment for 2 hours, I then had to come and air out this apartment and then sit outside with them for 2 hours. And in that time, I was like, you know what? I can only really use my phone. Let me pop in Persona 5 Royal. I never played Royal. I've only played, you know, the original. And, you know, it's Persona 5. Got to meet Kasumi there at the beginning, and got to, you know, hear some of that new music, which is great, of course. And it looks great on Xbox. So that's a plus there. It's on Game Pass if you want to. I do have the original on PS4 as well, but yeah.
Before that game was coming out, I considered buying, like, they actually have a Persona 5 Royal Collector's Edition from like Atlas. Like,
yeah.
You know, comes with a bag and a whole bunch of other stupid crap with it. And it was like $120. And I was like, you know, I'm dumb, I'll admit it. And I was like, I might buy that.
Right. Until
I saw shipping. And shipping was like $36.
Oh, hell no.
And I was like, fuck that.
$36.
Like, there's like no other cheaper option. And it, you know, I don't mind waiting. Like, hell, do the cheapest option and I'll be fine.
Right.
Like, I don't need it tomorrow. But for that price, I was like, no, thank you. Like, that is like a third. That was almost a third of the product price. And I was like, nope.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, definitely I'm happy to see a lot of people are playing Persona now on Xbox finally, if you didn't, or on Switch, if you bought it on Switch, or but this has led obviously to a lot of console war nonsense, which don't get yourself involved in that. Recommended. But
I mean, the best platform to play it would be PC, that I can think of personally.
Yeah, probably because you can, you know, eventually mod it and everything. But yeah, I don't agree with the people that were apparently calling it a trash game, and then it shows up on Xbox and now it's a great game. Like, a great game is a great game no matter what console, or if it's PC only. Just because now all of a sudden you got to play it doesn't make it not a trash game. So just a word to the wise there. Just learn to hey, I can't play that game, unfortunately. If it ever does come to my system, great. I will play it then. But hey, either way, as long as people are playing and enjoying it, that's what matters. And I could totally recommend that Persona 5 Royal was pretty awesome. So I can't wait till 3 and 4 come out next year, because those I have not played. So I'll actually get to experience those for the first time and everything.
4 holds up. 3 is a little more of a dicey proposition.
Yeah. I'm hoping that the big rumors that they are going to remake 3 actually happen. But we'll see. They keep they keep revealing like little snippets of like somebody apparently has access to some, I don't know what kind of version of that remake or something, but they never, like, Alice has never officially revealed it. So we'll see.
The problem with Persona 3 that I can remember is at least the original version. I don't know which version is coming to the
It's
Xbox.
portable. The Persona 3 portable is the one that's coming to all the systems.
That's ugly. And it's
I can imagine it's probably gonna be ugly, yeah.
And it's like, because they had to bust it down from the PlayStation or the PS2 at the time. So like, instead of having these kind of big open levels that the PS2 version had, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, what they should do is remaster Persona 3 Fez, say forget the new character because it's not needed, and make that the best version.
I'm really surprised that they didn't just decide to do that.
Well, what you want to hear my dirty theory is they already got a Vita / PSP emulator working. That's why they can just kind of just dump the ISO in that thing and run it and like touch it up some, and they're like, all right, that's good enough.
Yeah. I mean, though, like I said, those are the two I've always wanted to play. I've watched the anime and I've watched the movies, but I never got to, like, I didn't ever have a PSP. I didn't have a PS Vita, and when I had a PS2 before I had to sell it due to unfortunate circumstances, that was not my kind of game at all. Persona was. I had no idea what Persona was. So yeah. It's cool that these are coming. So
one funny problem of Persona 3, like original Persona 3, that like Portable and Fez did fix, was in original Persona 3 you can only control your main character.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah, the other characters were like AI controlled, and it was terrible.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I'm glad they fixed that in the Portable, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Portable one has you can place the female pro tag.
Right.
I
guess that's neat, but not needed,
Yeah. Agreed. I guess.
I mean, I would rather take Fez over Portable because of the graphical,
right.
Way better, or, way more fully featured.
I mean, I guess if they probably thought, if we're taking Golden, which is from the Vita, why not go ahead and
Golden is not stripped down. Like that is Persona 4, because the Vita is powerful enough to run that. It basically is a PS2 in a handheld form at the time, so it's like, all right, this works fine. But Portable has a lot more, not restrictions, but downgrades compared to, the PS, Persona 3 regular.
Right.
But yeah, I'll still probably get it, or I'll at least take a look at it.
Yeah, at least. Well, I think that does it for what I've been playing as well.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and get into the news here. So we do have an update on what we talked about last week with the Hellena Taylor, the original voice actress for Bayonetta for the first 2 games. Jennifer Hale, who's now the voice actress for Bayonetta 3. And then, of course, Platinum Games, all that. Apparently, she was dishonest about what she was being offered. She pretty much admitted it during her rebuttal video statement that she put out, that yes, originally she was not offered 15,000 as she claimed, but she wasn't offered as low as the 4,000 either. She was offered apparently 10,000 at one point. Then she spoke to Hideki Kamiya, and he bumped it up to 15,000, which that's for all the sessions together, not, which is still above what her union pay is for that job. Now, look, it doesn't take away from the fact that VAs are still paid terribly. Okay. As we said last time, a lot of game industry jobs, aside from game dev, are paid terribly. But the thing is that lying about this situation doesn't help the voice actors and the voice actresses that are actually trying to make a statement about getting better pay. So this kind of just really hurt those chances, unfortunately.
I see. I want to see like a contract until one of them like leaks that.
I mean, she already broke the NDA, but I think if she's already going to make it hard for herself to get jobs further.
No, like
yeah.
She doesn't voice act. Like her problem, I don't disagree with her message, but her core problem is she doesn't do a lot of other jobs. Like I draw the situation. I draw the comparison to Grey Griffin, or I think her name is Grey Delisle again. She went back to her maiden name. She's the voice of Jean in that game, like the other Bullet Witch. I think that's what they're called in that game. Mm-hmm. She's not coming back either.
Right.
And she is like the most prolific voice actress, or at least one of them. I mean, so she hasn't said why she's not coming back, but she's not. And she, she does characters and like shit like, Third Boy in like cartoon. She's not particularly choosy about her roles. So I have to wonder like what her contract was or how bad was that. I don't think this Hellena Taylor understands how voice acting like really works, like as a job. Like you have to be like out there every day auditioning.
I mean, and that stuff's free, right? You don't get paid for the auditioning and the all that.
That takes 20 minutes. I mean, who knows how long it takes? I mean,
right, but you're preparing yourself for the role, like what you think
most voice actors also have like their own voice studio in their house or apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's not like you're not have to like rent out studio time or something. But like Hellena Taylor only does Bayonetta. So that's an issue if you're only relying on one character. It's not like, Madden every year,
Yeah, and this is not a franchise that makes a lot of money.
No, it does. But
it doesn't make Nintendo big IP money. It makes like 2 million sold or something like that, which is increasingly getting smaller and smaller of what studios need to make back what they spent on these games. So now, granted, Bayonetta 3 could blow that all out of the water, especially because of this controversy and getting a lot of the online people to buy the game that may not have bought the game in the first place, or that now might go back and whoever canceled their pre-order might actually go and buy the game instead. So this is definitely a niche hardcore game. It's not a appeals to everybody game, so her asking for what amounts to 10 times what that role is, what that role normally gets paid, I think almost anybody would have gone and said, no, we're not going to pay you that. So,
well, here's the thing. I don't disagree with her requesting that money, even if it was $100,000. Be like, yeah, how much is that though in relation to like the overall development cost of the game? It's probably still peanuts. But her also wanting points on the back end or points on like copies sold, that's nuts. That was,
I mean, I don't actually begrudge her winning residuals because you are the main lead character, and also, to be fair, that's how it's done in a lot of other industries.
Yeah. But even developers, like, a lot of developers don't get residuals. So,
I agree with you there. But that's the problem is.
Well, her going like, oh, I think she said like some tweet like, oh, I'm just gonna abandon the role and I'm just gonna want to go back to theater, and it's like, yeah, okay. How many residuals do you get for a theater performance? Like none.
Well, yeah, you're doing it. You're doing that whole tour. So, what residuals are you really getting? You're
right.
It's not like everybody buys a copy and you're part of that until they get to the point where they outsource that, right? Where they eventually maybe becomes part of Broadway or something, and it's no longer her; it's somebody else doing those roles or whatever. But yeah, it sucks that this happened this way. She, again, like Mark pointed out, she has a point, but the point now is going to be buried in her fabricating a lot of this story, which is not good. So I guess word to the wise to people, if you're gonna do this and try to help out your profession,
at the very least, what they should have done, like I said, it's nothing against her personally. I haven't met the woman, obviously. I just don't like Jennifer Hale's performances a lot of the time. Like, they should have just got another British actress to do Bayonetta. Believe me, there's a ton of them out there.
Yeah, but
would work cheap.
If Jennifer Hale accepted to do it for the price that they stated, or they paid her a little bit more,
they could have paid someone else a little bit. Like, to me, Bayonetta is a British character.
Right.
Like, a very strong kind of British accent. And Hale might be able to pull that off, but I don't think it's going to sound entirely natural compared to, like, if it's got some, British lady like Hellena Taylor to do it.
Yeah. I mean, look, I get it. I get people want the original voice actress if possible. And I get that she was paid like £3,000 for the first game and everything, and a little bit more for the second, and that increase that she was getting was a lot more. So again, I don't begrudge her asking for more than even that, but then at some point you have to say, okay, well, she decided not to do it. Maybe she thought they would just come back to her and be like, well, okay, we got to have you. Here's a little bit more. And she lost on that bargaining table.
Yeah.
So, yeah, either way, that's what's been going on with that. Bayonetta comes out in what will be 3 days from the time we're recording this. So, by the time we come out next week, yeah.
I was going to say, I'm looking at her IMDb right now, and she's had 5 voiceover roles in the past 10 years. They're all for Bayonetta. Like, there's only 5, and they're all for Bayonetta.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that's not a sustainable career, obviously. Like,
but obviously she must do something else. Either that, or she has somebody else that helps her because, like,
I mean, I guess play work and stuff, or like she's on the stage. But it's like, yeah, but that's different than voicing a character,
Right.
Like, look at our announcer actress Natalie Lander. Like, yes, she does voice actress work. Like, she does like Terra and Final Fantasy and other characters, but she also acts on screen,
right?
Or she does other.
That's a different pay scale than.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not all relying on, like, I'm sure if she said to Square one day, "Hey, I want 5 times as much to voice Terra in whatever new dumb Final Fantasy mobile game you're making, they'd be like, all right, later.
Yeah, true. Wouldn't
But
doubt it.
I'm sure she recognizes, like, she gets paid for the job. It's probably not a ton.
Well, it's basically
But
like freelancing. You
yeah,
have to constantly be going from one gig to
yeah,
the next gig.
right. And you
Yeah.
can't just rely on like a Bayonetta game to hit every year, because that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I get what that she wanted the residual, so she didn't have to. She could go back to doing the play work or whatever, and not have to voice a character again for a while. But
Right.
I can't imagine she was paid that much for Smash to barely do any
No,
lines
probably. I
there.
mean, yeah,
So
that's probably like
yeah,
1 or 2 sessions at max.
exactly. Uh,
Sorry.
but yeah, I mean, this. Who know? I guess we'll learn what the impact of this is as time goes on. But right now, she has not put herself in the best light. And I don't think she got what she wanted out of this boycott for Bayonetta 3. In fact, it was quite the opposite, it seems like.
Yeah.
So, moving on from that, we have Fallout 4 is apparently going to get a next-gen upgrade on both Series consoles and PlayStation 5 and PCs. So, they are not leaving out PS5 on this, which is a good look for Microsoft. Let's be fair. They are having a battle right now to try to get that Activision Blizzard thing passed. And now the CMA is wanting you to go write a letter if you want to go do that. Yeah, I mean, for one, how sad is it that a governing body needs to go get letters from the freaking community to make a decision? But that's here than near nor there.
Not really, because I mean it's how they gauge, public interest or public, what the public wants.
Yeah, but I mean, most people that are going to do this is like the hardcore console worker. We already know what that's going to give you. So, are you really going to be able to answer your own question there? I don't know. The fact that we have like other governing bodies, or I don't know what you call it, coming out and saying that the CMA really just needs to pass this, I think really doesn't give them it doesn't help them in a way. Again, like a lot of their statement reads like they were just taking everything Jim Ryan told them and like, hey, let's regurgitate this on paper. We'll see whatever happens with that, but nonetheless, Fallout 4 is getting a next gen upgrade. It is coming in 2023. There is going to be improved performance and new features. Of course, this is to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Fallout. It is going to be free. So there's performance mode features, high frame rate, 4K, bug fixes, a creation club content.
I have
Yeah.
I have a problem with them saying it's like Fallout's 25th anniversary, because it's like technically it is, but you guys only owned it for like the past 12 years or 13 years.
Well, yeah, but the game still existed for that time. I mean,
go make an HD version of Fallout 1. Let's do this.
I mean that would really be having to redo that to make it work on consoles and stuff. So I don't know if they want to go through that trouble, quite honestly.
Right.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. There's a reason why that is only and probably will only come out on the PC Game Pass side of things. But you are a Fallout fan.
Yeah. It's a bummer I don't like Fallout 4.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, does this interest you at all to go play Fallout 4? Because I remember you weren't a big fan of it.
Yeah, I had it on PC, so it's like, well, I guess this is cool for like the console kids, but I still didn't like it on PC. Like, it's not going to make me go out and run out and buy like the PS4 version or anything. It just felt compared to like Fallout 3 and New Vegas, Fallout 4 is incredibly like scattershot and it didn't have like a clear direction of where to go. So that was an issue.
Yeah, certainly.
And it felt too, felt like it was too big and too meandering, and it had this like idea of like, oh, you're trying to find your son, but like that kind of went nowhere, or like it just felt like completely flat, because it's like you're not like spending time, like it's not like you got to know your son beforehand, like he's like a baby when he got kidnapped, so
Right.
it's like, okay, I guess, but like even if that was the point, like, oh, you're trying to rescue your son, it's like, well, then why am I talking to this robot detective, or why am I doing all this like base building shit that's not fun at all?
Yeah, because they have to bring in the Fallout stuff that you're used to doing.
But that
right?
wasn't like, that was all new shit. Like that whole base building stuff like felt very back asswards to me, and they built a whole game around it with Fallout 2025 or Fallout
The
76.
Fallout Shelter.
Well, no,
and
Fallout
Fallout
76. Like that's the whole point of that game is build your camp, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Like, no, I don't want to do that.
It's like I didn't want to do it in the single player game. I definitely don't want to do it in the multiplayer one.
So you didn't have anything that you liked about Fallout 4?
Some of the characters were cool, and it was nice they got rid of item durability. That's about it.
No, that doesn't sound too positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, hey, at least if you did like Fallout 4, you can go back and replay that. But I definitely do remember.
Even like the DLC was bad for that game. And it's like, wow. Like I can understand like one or two of them like not being great, but they had like 4 DLCs, and like 3 of them were just like items to like for your base. And then one of them was like the Coca-Cola world.
Yeah, the Nuka-Cola, yeah.
Yeah, but even that was like pretty half-assed, and it's like, wow, you guys didn't even like try for this, did you?
I think by then they already knew they were not really going to get people to come back for that game.
Right. So they just had to put one of them out, and all right,
yeah,
on to the next thing.
Like,
and look
how well we promised, so we have to put that out. But
I mean, believe me, if they said, "Hey, we're putting out New Vegas remastered," like, hey, it's gonna be New Vegas and Fallout 4's engine. They're like, game on, let's do this. I'll buy that game again. But or even Fallout 3. Like I like Fallout 3 quite a bit. But just not because it had like an interesting story or an interesting setting and hook that Fallout 4 did not have.
Yeah. Well, you would hope that they're going to look at that with Fallout 5, and then of course the upcoming Starfield as well. They will have a lot to learn from. So it looks like next year is going to be it for Starfield, but at least you hope so. We don't have any more delays, and we'll see if they learned anything from that.
Yeah.
Speaking of learning from things, we talked about this Disco Elysium kind of split that happened with the studio. Now we have the Disco Elysium lead designer Robert Kurvitz filing a lawsuits against Zaun that he's at first they had claimed that the developers left involuntarily and they were fired on false premises. These departures actually occurred at the end of 2021, so like around this time last year, which that's crazy that we haven't heard about that until now. Yeah, it's not a good look for the studio that's again in development on what you would think is a sequel to Disco Elysium. They can't really apparently talk about much of it because there's an NDA. What Kurvitz apparently is filing the lawsuit due to his company, and this is going to take place in an Estonian court next month. So I guess we'll see what comes of this and if we find out any info, because they really didn't divulge any info here.
I mean, I guess for my like very limited understanding, like the company kind of imploded because of like money versus creatives.
Yeah.
And all the creatives left, and the money guys think, we can do this. And spoiler
Nope.
alert, you can't.
No, you can't.
So I think like Disco Elysium 2 will come out at some point, but it will be terrible.
Yeah. It doesn't inspire a lot of faith right now of those people that are making it. Let's see. Maybe they make up and they come together to make that game, but right now it's not looking too good.
Or all the creative guys just go work for like Super Giant Games and make another one, or make another game like that.
Yeah, that too could happen. As well.
Yeah.
Remember when Oscar Isaac was talking about? Well, it seems like he never stops talking about this Metal Gear Solid movie that he apparently wants to make.
Back in the 1960s.
Yeah. He's still talking about how he's hoping that it happens, that it's his favorite game, and everything else.
No,
do you think this is going to happen?
I mean, no offense to Oscar Isaac, he's getting up there age-wise. Like he's 43. Like he only has a limited time left to do this if he wants to do it. Like I'm not saying like he's too old tomorrow, but like 5 years from now, he might be too old. But in answer to your question, fuck no.
You don't think Konami will ever just be like, "Hey, we made a Silent Hill movie."
The thing with Silent Hill is it's cheap to make.
Right? Yeah.
Like if they just said, "Hey, if you get the funding together, make it." That's one thing, but they're not gonna put up the money to make this thing.
Well, at least the money that you think a movie of this magnitude, of one of the highest selling and most well revered and loved video game franchises would deserve.
Yeah, like how much do you think ballpark like a Metal Gear Solid movie would take to make?
Good, like 100 mil more.
I was thinking like at least 150 personally.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. That first Silent Hill movie cost $50 million to make.
Yeah.
That's kind of a lot. I mean, it made $100 million, so technically that's not great either, because that's like the movie budget. Like something I've learned online that holds pretty true is whatever the movie budget is, double it for marketing. So if a movie costs $50 million, it really costs $100 million because of marketing and stuff like that. So for it to only make $100 million, that's not great.
Yeah, no, it's
and
not.
The next one, that Silent Hill Revelation, only cost $20 million because it's like, yes, I wonder why. And it made $55 million, so it actually did earn more of a technical profit than the last one. But no one even remembers that movie anymore. So
right.
So I think like realistically, like think of like a Transformers movie. Like those are like $200 or $300 million.
Yeah, I mean that's if you wanted to make it like high grade Michael Bay quality, but I don't think Konami would do that either.
Right. Yeah, like that last Bumble movie cost between 100 million and 130 million. And it actually made money. Like I'm not gonna lie about that, but like compared to like the bigger Transformers movies, which made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like no.
And actually, people like that Bumblebee movie.
Yeah, that was like a good one. Like of the 6 sort of the fuck they've made. Like it's like, yeah, this is the one good one, and it made the least amount of money. So,
right,
great. So I just don't see it. Like they can say they're working on it, but they've been trying to work on a Crow remake for 20 years now.
Yeah, I
And
feel like I hear that all the time. Like, that Crow remake is still happening, folks.
and Todd McFarlane's still in his bat cave, or where the fuck he is, going, "I'm making a new Spawn movie." And it's like, yeah, okay.
At least he's
So,
still doing Spawn stuff, so that's a
what do you mean? At least that's
positive.
all he has going for him. Like, it's
Yeah,
not like
I
he has
know.
any
I'm
other
just saying.
option.
I mean, it's almost getting to the point of like George R. R. Martin with the next Game of Thrones book. Like, hey, I'm making other Game of Thrones stuff, but not the book that you guys want to read.
Right. I tease Jens about that all the time.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
I mean, I'm sure maybe eventually a Metal Gear Solid movie will come out, but it'll be Japanese and it'll be like $10 million, and it'll
you
look.
think so? I feel like there's gonna be some big, if we can get enough video game movies that actually like do decently. Like, let's say we get more. Uncharted did pretty well. Like, let's say we get a few more of something like that, where Sony gets a hit with that Horizon show, and
That
the
Days Gone
Mario
movie finally comes out.
the Days Gone. The Mario movie does really well. Like, I could see somebody with some cachet going, "Oh, you know what? I really like Metal Gear Solid. Let's cast a big Hollywood known actor in there and make this a big budget movie." Like, I could see it happening. I don't think Oscar Isaac would be making it. I think it'd be somebody else.
No, that's kind of a diss on Oscar Isaac though, because it's like he's plenty big. Like,
Yeah.
he can open a movie just fine, but
No, I'm not saying he can't. I'm saying if it never gets made while he's pushing for it, I could see someone else doing it. But that's just me. Maybe not. I feel like if you're going to make a run of franchises that deserve video game movies that aren't horror based, that are cheap to make, as Resident Evil will show you because they keep doing it. Metal Gear Solid will be one of those. I don't know.
I think a problem also with Metal Gear Solid technically is like it's a pretty complicated story, and
Yeah,
to cram that into like a 2 or 3 hour film, like, good luck.
Well, could they make a Metal Gear Solid series? TV show?
That would have more possibility to be like made, I guess, but I don't know if they would want to do that. Yeah, that would also be a lot more expensive.
Yeah. But hey, Konami's not making a Metal Gear Solid movie anytime soon, but they are making another Silent Hill movie. So, they got that for going for them.
I called it last week.
Yep. So they did have that Silent Hill announcement, and pretty much the guesses that we all had were basically what was announced. Silent Hill 2 remake, which that was the most like known quantity of the bunch that was there. And that is the Bloober team making this. So the folks that made the Medium and the Layers of Fear games and all that. Randy is super excited because he liked the Medium a lot more than most people.
Yeah, I've been following Jess from Giant Bomb, or kind of ranting about it, and she really is not a fan.
Yeah. There was a lot of people that were not happy about the fact that Bloober Team is the one doing it. I say we give them a shot before we just, nix this whole thing. It could be really good. The trailer looked really interesting. Let's give it a chance. Let's come out with some more. Let it cook some more. Get to where this is coming out, and then we'll see. I guess.
Yeah.
What are your Do you like Silent Hill 2? Or are you interested in this at all? Or?
I think it's really weird because I think they should be remaking the first one. And I guess I know like Resident Evil 2 is kind of where the series got like a lot more popular, like mainstream wise.
Right.
But the Resident Evil 2 remake worked because they already had Resident Evil 1 remake done, or like
Right, exactly.
that was already made and already, So it's like, where's this? Yeah, it's like, where's the Silent Hill 1 remake? It's like, well, that's on the PS1. Good luck.
Yeah, maybe they'll go backwards, I guess. If this does well, they'll go back and remake Silent Hill 1.
Yeah.
But
I mean, hey, if it works for him, fine. I've never been a fan of that franchise. I think I've heard Shattered Memories is pretty good. That's the Wii one. That's about it.
why have you?
I played the first one. I didn't like it because I couldn't fucking see anything because of the fog.
Right.
Yeah. I played Silent Hill 3 on PC. I didn't like it. It had like really funky gamepad controls. And I played Silent Hill 4 on PS2. And that game made me nauseous. Like the first person sequences made me like physically sick because like the field of vision was like really fucked up. So yeah, I'm just not a fan of that franchise. Like the film is fine, I guess. It's dumb, but it's more or less passable.
Yeah, I like the movie.
That pyramid head kill, that one is like, kind of funny. But as a whole, I'm just not into that franchise.
Yeah.
Like hell, why not bring back nightmare creatures?
And we also got Silent Hill Townfall, which is made in conjunction with No Code and Annapurna. That looks really interesting as well. Of course, No Code are the folks that make Stories Untold and Observation, so that gets me excited because I like both those games. Yeah, I'm down for Annapurna being involved in having a Silent Hill thing. That's cool. And then you get Silent Hill F, which is, I guess, Silent Hill 5, or Silent Hill the next in the series, whatever you want to deem it as. So you're getting the continuation of the series, you're getting a spin-off or a side game, and you're getting the Silent Hill 2 remake and also the next movie in Silent Hill as well. So that's a lot in one announcement thing. So I would say well done for Konami for having all that in the bag and then releasing it all in one go. So that's a pretty good showcase, I would say.
Yeah. The people who are excited, feel free, or have at it.
I mean, Capcom also did the Resident Evil showcase. Got to see, I guess, the final trailer for the what's the name for that? Resident Evil. No, Resident Evil Village like Gold Edition that has the DLC.
Yeah.
Where you get to play as Rose. I'm excited for that. That comes out on the 28th as well.
There's already, I think GameSpot already has a review, and it's already like kind of negative.
Yeah, I saw that the review wasn't great, and that sucks though.
Yeah.
And then what is it? The Mercenaries mode has all the bosses in it that you get to play as now. So
right. And I saw people were like upset that like Lady Dimitrescu's height is like smaller, but it's like, yeah, because they don't want to fucking be near every doorway and doorway in the game. Like,
yeah, if she was her true height, you wouldn't.
Yeah, like real awkward to go through a door. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I still want to kind of like experience that ending. I was intrigued with it when the game ended, so
sure.
Want to go through that. And then the third person mode is still cool that we're getting that as well. And then they showed a lot of gameplay for Resident Evil 4 remake, which that looked great as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. It was interesting they actually showed that the girl, not the president's daughter, I mean like Leon's partner lady.
Yeah.
I forget her name, but Like they actually showed her like in her office, and I'm like, whoa, like
Yeah.
because in the game she's always like a screen, and that's like on the walkie-talkie, and that's about it, or the cell phone.
I guess that's it makes a remake. They decided to change that there. So
Right.
yeah.
I hope they release another a PS5 and Xbox Series X chainsaw controller.
That'd be cool. If we
I actually had. I mean, I don't still have it, but I wish I still did. But at one point, I did have the PS2 chainsaw controller.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was terrible. Like it looked cool, but it's such like a
I'm just saying it's awesome because it looks cool. It looked cool, but yeah.
Now it's worth like $400. I was like, damn, I wish I would have kept that.
What else did they? That was it, right? They didn't.
Yeah, pretty much. Like,
yeah, Capcom came out afterwards and said there was no plans, which I'm sure was upsetting for you. No plans to make Code Veronica remake.
Yeah. They forgot the word yet, because after Resident Evil 4, what else is there? Like, I mean, they could do 5, I guess, but
I think if you're going down the well of doing 5 and 6, I mean, you really are scraping at the bottom of the barrel there.
That's why I say Code Veronica is next, because I mean, they're gonna do Resident Evil 9 probably at some point, sure.
Couldn't they go back and do 1 if they wanted to again?
I guess.
I mean, it's been long enough. It's not like
that remake is over 10 years old.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least it's 10 years old, There's probably still some quality of life improvements they can do to that game, or even do a remake of Zero. I mean, as well.
Zero is the other option, yes. But I guess I would probably rather see Code Veronica.
Right, because Code Veronica continues the story that's kind of already established. So, where Zero kind of starts from nothing and then
they kind of make it up whole cloth.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think people have less attachment to Zero as well. Like, I mean, I guess if they really wanted to, like I said, they could remake 1, but I can also see them kind of saying we don't want to commit to that.
Sure.
As well.
I mean, it just raises expectations, or it helps to. It would deaden some of the excitement for Resident Evil 4. So.
Yeah, because there'll be people that don't like 4 at all that would be like, "Oh man, now I'm gonna wait for Code Veronica." I think that is smart on their end. Like when 3 came out, people already knew the rumors for 4 was happening.
Right, and then 3 came out, and it's such a kind of a mess.
Yeah, it was kind of a letdown compared to 2.
Well, because it's supposed to be bundled with RE2, and they split it up, and it's a yeesh. But I mean, the Resident Evil 0, not Resident Evil 0, the Resident Evil 1 remake stuff, it could happen, but those games are already available on the modern or the current consoles.
Right, exactly. I mean, so was Resident Evil 4, to be fair.
Yeah, but there's a slight difference.
Yeah. Oh no, it definitely looks better. Probably gonna play better, all that stuff. So, would be worth having that for sure. I mean, horror games are really, as we mentioned, we did that topic about it, are really making a huge comeback, and now there's rumors Square-Enix could maybe throw out Parasite Eve there.
Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would too. I would love it, especially if we could get a collection of 1 and 2 on modern consoles as well. Don't know if they would do that. I mean, they're very interested in remaking and remastering things, so why not?
My fear is if they like remade Parasite Eve 1, is they would turn it into much more of an action game.
Probably.
And I think one of the charms of the first game is it's not an action game. It is like a weird hybrid RPG game. Because even Parasite Eve 2, I keep saying Resident Evil for some reason, but even Parasite Eve 2, they basically did turn it into like Resident Evil. Like it's, hold R2 to bring up your weapon and use that to attack, and it's all like real time, not turn based. So it felt a little funky.
Yeah. I mean, it'd
Really,
be cool if we did get it.
sure.
Yeah.
Just think about how good the shower scene is going to look with the new engine.
Oh, you would bring that up.
No, they bring it up because they fucking highlight it with every one of those goddamn games.
Would they leave it in? No, that's the thing with the way games are now, with the way the culture is now. Would they leave it in? That
They
would be
just double down and have like 4 shower scenes instead.
yeah. I don't know.
I really like Parasite Eve 1.
Mm.
Parasite Eve 2 is fine, and the Third Birthday is terrible. It's like one of the worst games.
I think we can all agree on that. So a few things here we can kind of go over quickly. The PS5 Edge DualSense Edge controller is going to come out for a whopping $200. Launch in January 26, 2023. This is not something that I care about at all. But it is coming, so
I might care about it if it can fix like the like stick drift issues.
I don't think it will though.
I think it will because you can swap out the stick, it'd be fine.
You think so? Oh, I mean, I guess you can just replace the stick if it does it.
Yeah, I just had my PS4 controller go funky on me, or like the one I use for my like computer.
Right.
I was playing that. This was like last week actually, but I was playing that After Igos game, and it's like left, right, and down were all fine, but if I would like press up, my character wouldn't run; she would just kind of like slowly walk, and I'm like, this is fucked up. And I like went to like the keyboard, like the gamepad settings, and I was like, no, something's wrong with this controller. Like the drift is not, or the control, like the analog stick is not hitting the top of the graph anymore.
Right.
So
I do think it's cool that you can apparently adjust the haptic feedback and all that. Like that's pretty neat. But yeah, $200 is a lot for a controller as well.
But it's kind of a drop in the bucket compared to like the super high end, custom gamepads that idiots who play Call of Duty like to buy. So
no, that's true too.
And guess who's gonna be buying this crap?
Yeah, those folks, the competitive people are gonna be buying that for sure. Like I said, I still think $200 is a lot for a controller, but the Elite also, when that came out, was kind of pricey, and they lowered the price pretty quick. So I think Sony might do the same if this doesn't sell really well out of the gate.
Yeah.
So, we also have that apparently there is no Cyberpunk Edgerunners Season 2. It was apparently planned as a one-time thing, regardless of. They probably were not planning for this to be some huge success. This was just going to be a thing that they did. Satoru Hama actually said that there were no plans to continue the story, and this was planned as a standalone work, so there was never a season 2 being done in the background or anything like that. Now, obviously, having the great critical reception that it has had, especially here in the West, would they perhaps change their mind eventually? I don't know. Maybe if CD Projekt Red came up to them that would be CD Projekt came up to them with a boatload of cash and said, "Could you please make a second season?" I don't know, but right now that's not the idea.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really loved. I love that series. I think it's really good. One of the best animes I've seen in a while. So I mean, I also don't watch a ton of anime anymore, but from having gone for kind of just watch One Piece here and there and some other things. That just blew me away after I finished watching it. So, yeah, I think it's well worth the spending that time in there for that. Anything else you really want to talk about?
Let's see. I guess the one thing I'll briefly is Will Wright is making a blockchain game, and my only comment is like how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, well, everybody's got to go for that quick buck, you know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily surprise me that he's going for it, but
the only thing that surprised me is like, where's Peter Molyneux? Like, I'm surprised he's not like all over this, or maybe he probably already has like 4 other blockchain NFT games in development, so that's why. But yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks to see that. Hadn't he retired or whatever?
I mean, he got once Spore came out and bombed, he kind of left quietly, and then he's been pretty inactive for like 10 years. Then he came back for this, and it's like, yeah, he should have stayed away. I think he was like doing like rocket shit, or like, you know, kind of building rocket to the moon with Richard Garriott, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, he was expecting Spore to be like the next big thing, like the next Sims for him, and when it didn't, he was kind of like, all right, well, I think I'm done now.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you see that I guess EA announced the next Sims successor? Or?
Yeah, Sims 5 and Sims 4 went free to play, so that's cool. I still don't like that series, like, or playing it. I guess the idea is cool, but like actually playing it is just very awkward to me, because the Sims have like a level of autonomy, which is cool, but like if you tell them to do something, they don't always do it. And it's like, why didn't you just give me direct control? Or at this point, then, which I guess the console versions might have more of, but they still have like some free will, so it just kind of ticks me off.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything you want to? I know Daniel's not here to kind of talk things with you here. I love the season finale of House of Dragon. Finally got to get caught up with that, and then watch the season finale yesterday, or well, Sunday at this point. So that was pretty great. Wasn't a big fan of the ending on a cliffhanger, but you expect that it's going to end when they know that there's a season 2 in the works. Just sucks that we're not going to get anything until 2024. So that's a long time to wait.
Yeah. Yeah, Jens was pretty happy about it too. Well, he said, I mean, this is actually the exact exchange we had, basically, but I said to him, because he's also watching that Rings of Power show.
Yeah.
And I said, like, which is better, or is House of Dragons better or worse than Rings of Power? And he said, House of Dragons is way better in every way except the music. So I said, so it's worse than, right? He laughed about that.
For him, yeah. Right? Because he's a big music guy.
The one thing I'll mention that I watched was the Doctor Who thing.
Yeah.
They finally got rid of Jodie, which I've always maintained she was not the major problem with that show.
Right.
But they got rid of her, and they got rid of Chris Chibnall, who was the main problem. And it was like her farewell episode. It was like shockingly competent. It was a tad too busy overall. And some characters, like if you're not really following the show, like the first 5 minutes a character leaves and you're like, okay, who the fuck is this guy? Or, you know, like,
right, yeah.
You know, okay, he's going, but okay, sure, I guess. But it was good. I was like pleasantly surprised. They actually had a whole bunch of old ass Doctor Who actors back, including like 5 doctors, or at least 4 of them.
I heard that there was something like that in there. I will watch it.
Yeah.
And want to be surprised for sure.
Well, the one it's a spoiler, I guess technically, but you're not going to know who this character is anyway. They got like one of the first companions for that show back.
From back in the day, or from
like
recent?
1963.
Oh,
so,
wow. Okay.
Like, when the show was on back then, he was like probably 25 years old, or maybe. So now he's like 70.
I mean, I did watch some of those, but yeah, you're right. I probably won't remember who that is.
Yeah, but now the character, or now the actor, like 70 or 75. And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And they like looking him up. I'm like, okay, he's like the first companion, or like the second one. So I'm like, all right,
yeah,
cool.
like, oh, okay, that's cool. They really went. They went super back there for that.
Yeah. So yeah, it was good. I was like I said, like pleasantly surprised. And there's a musical sequence in it that is so cringeworthy that it's actually kind of great.
Yeesh.
Yeah. But it sets up an interesting like next season or next episode of Doctor Who, which is November 2023. And it's like, holy hell, that is far off.
Wait, so they're not going to do any episodes Doctor Who until November of next year?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, gives me a lot of time to catch up, I guess.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, it's not like the show has been like super prolific the past few years, like the last season 12 was like the last full season, and that was like 2020. Like they did like
4 I mean,
episodes.
The pandemic kind of
but that's kind of over, or not. I mean, not over, but more or less done,
controlled, if you want to call it that. Yeah,
but yeah, there was like 3 episodes this year, and that was it, or maybe 4 with this one, but yeah.
Yeah. I will eventually get caught up on that at some point. Now that there's no Game of Thrones for a while, that might be I've been wanting to, because I know Naya likes sci-fi stuff, so I might be able to get her to watch like the whole Return series with me, and then we'll just get into watching those.
You should try to introduce her to the female doctor to see what her opinion is. And then, I mean, if you watch those like 30 or 40 episodes, then you can introduce her to like Matt Smith or David Tennant and go, now we get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Like when Sunday, like, I saw a bunch of like reports about, the top five episodes of Jodie Whittaker's run. And I'm thinking, and I'm like, there haven't been 5 good episodes of her run put together. Like,
gosh, that's a bad precedent there.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess go ahead and discuss the games that are coming up. So were you like reading off something when I saw you posting about New Tales of the Borderlands, or?
Yeah, the Destructoid review was pretty positive.
Okay. I'm guessing hints of sarcasm there.
Yeah, they gave it a 3 out of 10.
I saw some people actually gave it good reviews, so I don't. It seems very.
I saw
mixed.
Like some 7 and 8s, but that's still like not as good as the first one.
Yeah,
and the common problem is just like a lot of problems I saw was just like the writing, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it all, from what I gather, like this is like all releasing at the same time. Like it's a 5 episode story, like all the same, But it's like, I don't think that quite works the way they want it to, because I think one of the appeals of the Telltale stuff was it was, monthly or hopefully on a good schedule.
Yeah. Hopefully. So that being said, we do have some major games coming out, including one Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2
Yep.
that will be out by the time that we have this podcast. Also, so funny that Activision Blizzard has 2 games coming. Oh wait, no, it's Dragonflight's on the 28th as well, right? Or
I thought Dragonflight was November.
it's November 20th. Yeah, sorry, I get confused with it's November 20th. So yeah, and Bayonetta 3 is also coming the same day. So if for some reason you want both those games, get ready to shell out the money. I may have to go back and just wait on Bayonetta because I forgot that we got God of War and Pokemon coming out within like a week and a half of each other. Star Ocean Divine Force comes out as well the day before on the 27th. So if you want another one of those Square Enix RPGs that they've kind of put out with little fanfare, then go for it. Signalis also comes out. That's coming to Game Pass. And yeah, that Resident Evil DLC also coming out as well, and along with Resident Evil Village on Switch.
Yep.
So,
speaking of Switch games, real quick, did you see Alan Wake or not? Yeah, it's on Switch.
Yeah, Alan Wake is on Switch, and it plays terribly apparently, and they even had to lower the price because it plays terribly.
Yeah, it looked like it got hit with the ugly stick.
Yeah,
and it's like, what's going on here? Because that Nier Automata port plays great, or I have a friend playing it right now. He really likes it.
They did Control Cloud. Like, why wouldn't you just do the cloud version if it's not going to run very well?
Yeah, and also it's like, okay, if like the current Alan Wake Remastered can't run well on the Switch, that's fine, But
right.
Alan Wake should be able to run that thing.
Yeah,
with
that's
little
a
problem.
360 game. Like, that's
yeah.
Like, wow. I mean, what is wrong there? I don't know if they're doing it themselves at Remedy or somebody else, but whoever that was, that was awful.
Right.
That Gunfire Reborn game also comes out in a couple of days. It's a first-person RPG roguelike shooter that's going to be on Game Pass. And if you want to play that Resident Evil Reverse thing, it's also out on the 28th as well. So from what I've seen of that, I want no part of that at all. So I guess if you do, go for it, but that is nothing that I want to touch.
Just like Gotham Knights.
Yeah. Doraemon Story of Seasons comes out on the 2nd. So if you've been wanting one of those, that's coming out pretty soon as well. So, and then the first 2 Mario parties are coming to the Switch Online thing. So if those are still pretty damn good games, to be honest. I remember having a lot of fun with my friends on those first couple Mario Party games. So if you never got to play them or you want to play them again,
you were also 13 and you had local friends to play them with.
Well, that too. I had lots of friends to play those with. I had the 4 controllers we could all play. I remember having a lot of fun with that. So yes. But yeah, that's what's gonna be out by the time we do the show next week. Plenty of good stuff there. Maybe I'll decide to buy Bayonetta at the last minute. I'm not sure. But again, God of War Ragnarok's not far away. And again, Pokemon's not that far away, so I gotta make those choices there. But until next week, everyone, we will see y'all later.
Later.
Peace.